We are in the presence of the famous or infamous, whichever stance you take, Canadian geese. And they usually like to hang out in packs. They seem to be very social creatures. And so one time this was my first 5 grammer. Okay, this was my first 5 grams of mushrooms, first heroic dose. And I was sort of having a wolf moment there. I was howling and I was running around and I was just kind of being a very wild human being slash wolf. The wolf in me came out. And I came running into a pack of these, the Canadian geese. And their big boss, now I don't see the big boss here, but if I remember correctly, the big boss, the alpha, was actually white. That's what I remember. I could be mistaken. And he actually stood up in front of me, okay, and he started, basically telling me to fuck off. Essentially, he was defending his territory. And I stood there in my enlightened state. I understood what's going on, obviously. I understood that I could just kick this so-called alpha bird with my feet and I could just stumble all over the pack if I really wanted to. Because you're in an enlightened state, you sort of know who's got more power, I suppose, who can manipulate the energy in a certain way. And in that particular moment, a human being, if you're not scared, which I certainly wasn't. They're birds, for God's sake. They're harmless birds, right? I understood that I could, obviously do that. But of course, I'm on 5 grams of mushrooms and I'm pouring with compassion and love. And so I stood there and I just kind of let him have his moment because he was sort of, telling me to fuck off. He was just standing, protecting his tribe. And I just stood there for 30 minutes, just kind of breathed, looked straight into his eyes. And that was the first moment that I fully knew. This is an inner knowledge, just as that I fully understood, fully, viscerally understood that human beings are up the ladder of evolution of consciousness without a shred of a doubt. And I looked at these birds and I looked at all creatures, animal life, as lower, I don't want to say lower forms, but they are in a lower dimension, as I learned later on in the 6 realms of existence, the Buddhist model. But I understood right there and then. I didn't have anybody to tell me. I had the mushrooms, so I understood that animal life, they're in a lower stage of their evolution. They're in a lower stage in the evolution of consciousness. And these creatures are not as conscious. And I was tripping with my friends and my friend. And he came over to me. Now, he got scared. My friend got scared. Because, it's still like an encounter, an animal type encounter. But, without sounding too egotistical, I'm kind of a wild human being, okay? I play with snakes and really, I get along pretty well. I'm not scared of most animals. Now, lions, different story. Big cats kind of scare me. They're pretty scary, okay? But for the most part, even if, I've encountered wolves before in the Rocky Mountains and I wasn't really scared. Just a little bit wary, but not scared. I've encountered bears before, also in the Rocky Mountains, and most animals, for the most part, they don't scare me. With the exception of the big cat family. They're just downright scary, man. I don't know. Must have had some bad experiences with big cats in previous lives, okay? So, but I understood that these beings are in a lower part of their evolution. They're in an earlier stage of their evolution because, look, Canadian geese are known for their shit, for their poop, which you could see all over the cement right now. You can see these little things. Look, all they're doing, all of them. This is animal life summarized in a nutshell. They're eating. Look, every single one of them is eating. They're going about eating, grazing, just eating grass, okay? And then you got the mothers here laying their eggs. So, survive, eat, shit, fuck. That's animal life in a nutshell. It's instinctual. That's the way nature runs, and they can't get past it unless you've got some kind of a Buddha, an enlightened being incarnating as an animal. You could see an exception case in the animal realm of, you know, exceptional higher awareness, higher consciousness, but for the most part they can't see past it. I mean, that's they're just running off their programs. They're just operating on programs. So consciousness incarnates in these forms in its earlier stages of evolution, and it's just experiencing itself as geese right now, and it does not have the capacity of, say, a human being, a higher being. Okay, and okay, they're probably fighting now. See, survival. Okay, they're having a duel over there, so they're into survival now. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that's animal life in a nutshell. That is animal life for you. I mean, you can see it right there summarized. Okay, survival. I mean, you know, those two guys were kind of having a go at it. Probably they're gonna keep going at it until one of them gets the females or something. Survival, procreation, right there, laying eggs and eating. They're all eating. They're all just going around eating and shitting. That's animal life. Now, if there's a lot of human beings that are living like animals, straight up, okay, and so they're in an earlier stage of their evolution as well. And the thing with this, you know, the geese and animals generally, is they're not like human beings. Human beings are clearly in a higher state of evolution, and I fully, when I came in encounter with with that pack of Canadian geese, and that their alpha basically came up to me and, you know, stood up to me, and he wouldn't let me pass. I understood. These beings, my friend was scared, and I had to go to explain to him later on that, look, I just knew it right there and then that they're just not very conscious. They're not as conscious as us human beings, and that's why Buddhists consider a human incarnation to be absolutely precious. And the Buddha himself said that it is an extremely rare thing to be a human being, and an extremely precious thing to be a human being, because we have higher awareness, and we have the capacity to liberate ourselves, to achieve enlightenment, to become fully God-realized, fully self-realized, fully whole, fully one. So to continue the story, I slowly backed off, and I just kept looking him in his eyes, because still in that situation you don't want to look away. You have to understand what you're dealing with. You have to understand the animal realm. You have to understand that these beings are just not very conscious, and you're gonna have to kind of play by the rules of the jungle in a way, but also use the compassion and the love to diffuse the situation. So I backed off a little bit, but I kept looking him in his eyes, right? And I just kind of stood there, kept a healthy distance, and I just stood there for maybe a minute, and I spoke to him telepathically, and I told him to calm down, and he did calm down. Actually, he stopped coming at me. He stopped making noises. He actually completely calmed down, because I telepathically talked to him, and I said, look, I love you. I don't want to harm your people here. I know I seem very wild to you, and I am, but I love you, and I love your pack, and I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna back off here. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna let you guys do your thing. But I kept looking him in his eyes the whole time when I spoke to him, and I swear within 45 seconds, a minute, he completely calmed down. There was no more hostility. Even the vibe calmed down. You could just sense now that he knows that I'm not a threat. So also, when you're at a higher consciousness, just saw one of them take a nice shit. They're really the reason why I said in the beginning of the video that they're infamous, because they're really somewhat of an infamous for their poop. I mean, their shit's everywhere. They're just eating and shitting. Not very conscious being. Very beautiful beings though. Very, very beautiful. I mean, very, very magnificent creatures. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And yeah, that's the way consciousness. That's right there, the evolution. So human being is more evolved on the consciousness ladder than say a goose, the geese, right? Really beautiful creatures, and I have lots of love for them, and lots of love for all creatures, and lots of compassion, really. Lots of compassion, because they're for me and you to be here right now, understanding, comprehending, contemplating the absolute, being aware, self-aware. That's, again, that's precious. That's a gift, but that also means we have gone. We were at that level of consciousness at some point, and it might have taken us millions of incarnations in different life forms, in different dimensions, to be where we are right now. Okay, so looking at these creatures saying, oh boy, oh, you guys got like millions of incarnations to go here. Good luck, with compassion, right? That's the compassion. That's the understanding of the game, how it goes, how it operates. And yeah, seeing these, I am really just looking at myself here. I am looking at myself. There's no other way for me to say this to you. I know this. I've been breathing really, really slow. I meditated this morning. I just understand that I'm looking at myself. I don't have to explain it. I don't have to put it in words. But here I am. But I am looking at myself here. And so I'm just looking at myself within the illusion. I'm looking at another part of me right now who's in a very, very earlier stages of the game. Still like earlier levels, right? The animal realm is the second lowest in the Buddhist 6 realms, right? It's the number 2. It's right after hell, because their existence, they don't have the same conscious capabilities that we do. They don't know, they can't comprehend the absolute. They can't contemplate the absolute, which is their the pure awareness, the isness. They're fully stuck in, their awareness is stuck in right now, like you're looking at the goose. That goose's awareness is stuck in being a goose. That's it. That's why they're all about survival, eating, and that's it. That they're just running off the survival procreation program. Okay, and that's why it's sort of considered to be an undesirable incarnation, to incarnate as an animal, because look, I could run into these birds right now, and they're in fight or flight mode. Okay, their life is constantly run by that. They're constantly living in fear. They constantly have to be on their toes. That's an animal. That's anybody. That's a lion too. You might think, oh, a lion is the king of the jungle. The king of the jungle. The true king of the jungle is a tiger, because lions don't live in jungles. They live in wilderness. They live in plains. They live in savannas, right? They live in openness. They don't live in jungles. It's the tigers that are the king of the jungles. However, anyway, that's beside the point. If you watch enough documentaries on lions, and trust me, I've watched at least like 30 documentaries on lions. Okay, I've like all of them. I watched all of them. They're always living in fear. The big lion who's controlling the alpha, who's controlling the tribe, and he's mating with the females, and he's getting all the kills that the females, that he gets first dip. A lion is an asshole. When you actually look at a lion, he's kind of an asshole. But even if you look at that lion who is perceived as the king, nobody messes with him. Well, he's always on his toes for other lions that are gonna challenge him, and they're always challenging him. They have short lifespan, because they usually end up getting in fights, and one of them gets wounded and they end up dying or something. So they're always living in fight or flight. You've got the other lions challenging your authority, always on the lookout. And you've got to, even as a lion, you've got to be on the lookout for elephants. You don't mess with elephants. Elephants come to a place, they're friendly giants, but as soon as elephants come, lions have to dip. Straight up, they have to dip. The only time lions have any sort of leverage on elephants is at nighttime, because they have better night vision. But nevertheless, during the day, and for the most part, you can't mess with an elephant. You just, as a lion, so even then you're still living in fear, fight or flight as a lion. You're still living in that, okay? You know, because you've got to worry about these elephants that are there. If they come, you gotta leave. You gotta dip. You gotta peace out. You can't mess with elephants. Okay? And elephants don't like lions, and lions don't like elephants very much. And in really, 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 really desperate situations, lions will try to eat an elephant calf, like a small elephant. And that's why elephants don't like lions, because they know when lions are really hungry, they'll try to go for their babies. And elephants are very smart, emotional creatures. They grieve their dead like humans do, which tells you elephants are at a higher level of consciousness, which is why they get along with humans, and that's why we can become friends with them. Okay, we really can. And I've been to many elephant shows before, and they're just amazing creatures because they're at a higher level of consciousness also. So even within the animal realm, you'll see certain animals that are at a higher consciousness. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking at myself here, and sometimes we think that, why can't I be an animal? It's not a very desirable thing overall. It's not a very desirable experience, and Buddha said that it's almost purely suffering. It is a suffering, and this is getting close. These specific the geese tend to be comfortable with human beings unless you go somewhere where they're sort of in the wilderness. And when I was there and I came up to them, that was a wild place. That was in the wilderness. That wasn't like, here you see streets and cars and everything, but here, because they're used to human beings, so that you can come close to them and it's not a problem. But that incident, I was purely in the wilderness. I don't think that specific pack was very accustomed to human beings, so they were very wary of some crazy guy on 5 grams howling and running around like a wolf. Okay, anyway, yeah, I just thought I want to share this on camera here with you guys. Thank you to all the Patreons for supporting this bad boy right here. I want to give you my sincere gratitude, my sincere thank yous, and if you'd like to pledge your support for, say, $2 a month, that would be pretty cool of you. But also, I wrote a book before called The Master Player. I'm putting it out obviously now. I'm more active on Patreon now. Okay, I know for the Patreons, I haven't been as much active. I've been kind of clearing my head a little bit, doing some fasting, but I'm putting a lot of cool content there too as well. Okay, but if you're gonna support, you're not supporting for the content, you're supporting because you want to support. Nevertheless, you guys are my family, and I always want to provide you with as much as I can, as much as I can. Okay, so I've got my book, The Master Player. I'm posting it today on Patreon, so I'm gonna post everything, and I'm gonna start writing books. I feel like I'm ready now for that phase again, and do some stuff like that, and it'll always be posted on Patreon. Okay, so if you pledge your support, you'll get all of that stuff anyway, and I put some really detailed videos there and stuff like that. So if you want to pledge your support, not for the content, mind you, just because you do, you can buy me a cup of tea every month, $2 a month or something. That would be really, really appreciated of you. Okay, so thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate these beautiful birds here. There's something they're looking out for. I'm trying to figure out what it is. See, they're all. Could it be another pack? It could be another pack that they're. Oh, look at, oh my God, that is beautiful. Wow. Wow, did you guys see that? Oh my God, it's like, how did they all know to do that all at once, all at the same time? Amazing. The world of animal world never ceases to amaze me. Wow, it's amazing. Like they all just went at the same time. How did they do that? What? There is an intelligence in the universe. That's the Tao. That's the way. What do you? You can't even put this in words. That's the way. That's the Tao. That's the intelligence. That's the force. So until next time, may the force be with you.